I'm with Lee Kurui, who is a nursing officer, and with the help of him, we're just going to look at matters of contraceptives. And just to give you a few statistics as far as the Ministry of Health is concerned, Kenya has recorded improvement that is in family planning uptake, especially among women of a reproductive age, with 52% of those eligible, representing 5.2 million women, using modern family planning methods. However, there is still on issues to do with men, the uptake of family planning by men remains a hard nut to crack. That is according to the Ministry of Health. However, almost 500 men underwent vasectomy in the last year, that is in 2021. So if you have any questions as far as contraceptives are concerned, feel free to share in your question. That is via our SMS number 0111220044, as well as Facebook or YouTube, that is CAC TV Kenya. The hashtag to use on Twitter is hashtag CAC in the morning, as well as World Contraceptives Day 2022. So as mentioned earlier, I am with Lee Kurui, who is a nursing officer. Lee, karibu sana, and it's a pleasure to have you, and we are definitely looking forward to learn from you.
Thank you so much, Ida, and thank you for having me.
All right. So on issues to do, I'm sure when we are mentioning contraceptives and mentioning family planning as well, maybe just to create the basis for our audience, which is which and what exactly is contraceptives?
Now, to start with, contraceptive itself, the word contraceptive, we can see contra is stopping and septive, stopping conception. Now, contraceptive is the use of, entail the use of drugs, devices, and even surgery to stop or to stop pregnancy. Now we have various methods of contraception or of family planning. We have those ranging from modern methods, and in particularly today, being the World Contraceptive Day, we are creating awareness on the modern contraceptive or the methods which are available in our markets today in the whole world. So we have starting from the hormonal methods and natural methods, and also the methods entailing surgery. Also,
all right. Just before we look at the methods, Kurui, let us just look at the statistics that the Ministry of Health shared. That is last week, actually on Thursday, even as we mark the World Contraceptives Day. I mean, women are now embracing the modern ways of family planning. However, there is still this hard nut to crack, as the Ministry of Health puts it, that as far as men are concerned. I mean, is family planning or contraceptive just a women issue, or should men also come on board and help with the family planning?
Now, for the past years, many years, since the family planning was introduced, it was actually invented in the year 1957 and broadly introduced into the market by 1960. So you can see that that's about over 50 years. And men have less methods of family planning, and which has resulted in less uptake of family planning by men compared to women. So far men only have about 3 methods of family planning. We have the barrier method, that is the condom. We have the vasectomy, and also we have other natural methods like the coitus interruptus or the withdrawal method. So according to the Ministry of Health recent data, we can see that men are still having the low consumption or uptake of family planning, because basically there are less methods of men compared to that of women.
But even with the methods that we have, talk of vasectomy and other methods that you've mentioned, the men are still not embracing those methods.
Again, I can say that there is still a fear of unknown of vasectomy, or also because the family planning is all about making choices. We can say an informed choice. So I think when we also compare the surgical methods, that is in men the vasectomy and in women the tubal ligation, we can see that generally there is low uptake of the methods involving surgery compared to other methods like the hormonals or the pills and that. So we can see that generally there is less uptake or use of the vasectomy and tubal ligation compared to the hormonal. So I think that is what has actually contributed to the less uptake of the vasectomy by men, and generally family planning used by men. Yes.
All right. Now let us look at now these methods, definitely the modern methods as you put it, as far as now women are concerned. How many do we have? And we also have examples of this in studio. You'll just be sharing with us. I was actually shocked to see a coil here. I actually, when people mention, I actually thought it's a coil, like a round thing, and I'm shocked to see it's quite a tiny thing. So you can just share with us of the methods and how they work.
No, thank you. So let me start with this. I'll start with the pills. So these are pills. So normally we have what we call the short-term methods of family planning. So the short-term methods includes the pills. So the pills, we have two types of pills. We have what we call progestin-only pills, which are taken by lactating mothers or mothers who are breastfeeding. We also have what we call COCs, that is combined oral contraceptives. They are taken by mothers who are not breastfeeding or any other women of reproductive age who are not breastfeeding. So like for instance, this is a COC, but it actually represents 12 pills because pills are just basically of this size and of this number. We have those which are taken for 21 days, others for 28 days. Also about pills, let me not forget to mention about the P2, the controversial.
Is it a family planning method?
Yeah, sure. It's a family planning method. It's an emergency contraceptive. It's controversially known as a morning pill. So a P2 or Postina 2 is an emergency contraceptive which when used within the 72 hours of unprotected intercourse, it actually prevents unintended pregnancy. So another method other than short-term methods.
Just before you go to the other method on the same, that is on the P2, you've talked of emergency. When we are talking of emergency, like how many P2s should a woman or a lady take within a year or in a year? Because I want to assume if a lady is taking, let me say, 28 of P2s, they'd rather go and use the daily instead of the emergency. And can they be used interchangeably?
Now, according to the WHO, that's the World Health Organization, it is recommended that P2 or Postina 2 should only be used at least 2 times in a year because of the, P2, it's an emergency contraceptive. And let me say that how it works, its mode of action. It actually thickens the cervical mucus so that the male egg, the sperm, will not penetrate and pass through to meet the egg, the ova, so that the fertilization will take place. So the way it works, it thickens the cervical mucus. And so the concentration of the hormonal concentration of P2 is very high. And so that's why it is not recommended to be used as many times. Yes. So it actually should be used at least up to 2 times in a year.
All right. So you can just take us now to the third. It was still a pill, or I can ask my question as far as the family plan is concerned.
Sure.
All right. Now there are numbers like they've written stats, as you say, there are 22 pills. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe you can just share with us how exactly are they taken, how many are taken probably in a day, and why do we have this particular line here? These are, can I say, is it yellow or beige?
Yeah.
And why are these brown in color or maroon?
Now. So the way it should actually be taken, we have these arrows. So this is day 1. So they're supposed to be taken 1 every day at the same time. Saying if you are taking at 7 a.m., you should take at that same time every day. Because these are hormones, and once you are taking, the hormonal concentration in the body will be equal until the next day, the same time, so that another cycle will start. And let me just mention briefly that these hormones, generally, we normally have two hormones in the contraceptives. We have the estrogen and progesterone. And in our bodies, our female bodies, the major hormones, these two hormones are the ones which are involved in reproductive cycles, menstrual phases, and all that. And so the hormones which are in these contraceptives, they are the same with the hormones which are in the bodies, only that these are synthetic. They are manufactured hormones, but they work the same, they supplement the same function. So these are pills. You're asking about the color.
The color.
So as you can see, these are the normal pills which we are taking. These are the different ones with a different color, the brown. They contain iron and folic acid. So when you finish taking these at the 21st day, the normal period will actually begin. And so when these other brown ones are taken, they supplement the iron, which may be lost through that normal blood loss. Yes.
Oh, makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, and you said it's taken. For example, if I'm taking one, let me say every day at 6 a.m. Let me say I forget to take. I've taken, let me say, like 10 of them. Then the 11th one, I've forgotten to take that particular day at 6 a.m. and I've forgotten completely until the following day. What are the implications of that?
So what happens when you forget to take that pill? You are supposed to take it as soon as possible when you remember. Now in the case of forgetting till the next day,
can I take 2?
Yes, you are supposed to take 2. And then if you forget for about 3 days, you are actually supposed to start the whole cycle again from 1. So you will stop taking all of this, you will start now the new one.
Another one.
Yes, another one.
So that is if you've forgotten for 3 days.
Yes.
All right.
And now if you suspect that you had unprotected intercourse, you can take an emergency contraceptive.
Emergency. All right.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's understandable. We can go to the other methods.
Now we were in short-term family planning methods.
Yeah.
Now we are done with the pills. We also have what we call injectables. So this is an example of injectable. So an injectable, it normally contains a white suspension. Currently in our markets or our suppliers in our country, we have 2 types of injectable family planning methods. We have what we call DMPA, that is depo-medroxyl progesterone acetate, or commonly known as Depo-Provera. So it's a white suspension. It's normally a 1 milliliter. It's given intramuscularly on the upper arm, or that's the common muscle, or what we call a gluteal muscle, behind. So these are injectable, last for 3 months. It's actually effective for 3 months once given, up to another 3 months so that another one is given. So this Depo, it is the commonly used family planning method in Kenya now. So though it has a side effect, the common side effect is what we call delay in return of fertility. That is immediately you stop using this and you want to conceive, you may delay for some time, even up to 1 year, even up to 2 years. That's the longest I've met. Another method of injectable, we have what we call Cyanapress. Cyanapress is also an injection. Okay, this contains 150 milligrams of the hormone, and it has only 1 hormone, that is the progesterone. So when it has 1 hormone, it means it is safe to be used by lactating mothers. So the other one, which is called Cyanapress, which is not so common, also goes for 3 months. It is same in the features. Also same with the side effect of the delay in fertility. Okay,
now that you've mentioned of the side effects of this particular injectable, what would you say are the side effects of now the short term?
Now the common side effect of the short term, actually it is associated with a bit less side effects compared to the
long term.
the injectable. So we may have irregular bleeding.
Or now
spotting.
for the menses.
Yes. But it is not so much associated with the irregular bleeding compared to other methods of family planning, which you shall see.
All right. I think my question now for this, I have so many questions now that I'm a woman as well. For this particular one, you've said 3 months, and I'm sure this is something that you go to the hospital for you to be injected, or is it something that you do at home?
Now, thank you for asking that question. Now, about this depot, now which is now commonly available in our markets, it has to be administered in the hospital, in the facility, or by a skilled medical practitioner. But the advantage with the other one, the cyanopress, it can be self-administered, just like the insulin, the diabetes. Yes, so it can be self-administered. That's the advantage of the other one over this one now, the depot. Yes.
All right. And do we have, let me say, other injectables that last for more than 3 months? Do we have probably a 1-year injectable, or it's just for 3 months?
I think that will be the most used if it was available. Yeah, because I believe one of the main reasons why Depo Provera is mostly consumed by our mothers in Kenya, or our women who are reproductive age, is because it is just a single shot, and then you go after 3 months, then you come back for it again. So I think that is one of the major reasons why it is mostly consumed. For at the moment, Depo, the 3 months, is the only injectable. I can say the long-term injectable. Yes.
Wow. Nice. Thank you so much for that. We can go to the other long-term method.
The other, we are now done with the short-term.
Oh, so this one is still a short-term.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Before we proceed, we also have condom as a short-term method of contraceptive, because it's only single use, and although it's under the barrier methods of family planning, but it's a it's a short-term family planning method. So under condoms, we have the male and the female. And what I'll want to say about the use of condoms is that when it is used correctly, it is very effective, up to more than 90%, up to 99% effective, sorry. And it prevents pregnancy. It's a contraceptive, and it's also prevent STIs and also HIV/AIDS. So it is I can say it's it's a double. It has more advantages on its package of advantages.
And now for just to make it clear probably to our audiences, is that for these other methods that you've mentioned, including the injectables and the pills, including the emergency pills, just to make it clear that they only prevent pregnancy and not, let me say, the sexually transmitted infections.
Yes, true.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
So I think we can now proceed to the long-term methods.
That's
so
fine.
under the long-term methods, we have what we call long-acting reversible contraceptives and what we call long-acting permanent contraceptives. Let us talk about the long-acting reversible contraceptives. Now, about the long-acting reversible contraceptives, we have implants. Apparently, we do not have a sample of implants. So implants, they are rod-like. They are almost the size of a matchstick, kiberiti. And so these are implants. They are 3 years and 5 years implants. Now the 3 years implants are called implanon. It's normally a 1 rod. It's inserted on the upper arm, the inner part of the skin, just the subdermal, just upper part of the skin. You can palpate them.
You can actually feel.
Yeah, you can actually feel them. So they're hidden, so that when you are walking in market, you have a short sleeve. Yeah, it may not be known that there's something there. So the implants, we have said we have the implanon, which is a 3-year implant. They are hormonal. They have only one hormone, that is the progesterone. So meaning they are safe for mothers breastfeeding and mothers who are not breastfeeding. Once inserted, it works after 24 hours. We have said it is long term. That's one of the advantage. The insertion procedure is not painful because I know that's one of the key issues that someone may fear. So it's not painful. So during insertion, the area which is inserted is normally infiltrated with a local anesthesia, so that that part will it will be numb. There will be no pain. And so during insertion, it's not a painful procedure, and it's just the insertion site is very small, and so it will heal as soon as possible. And so it is also very effective method. It's up to 99% effective. That is, it has very minimal failure rate. Actually, up to, I can say, it's according to the data, it is 1 in 1,000 failure rates. So you can see the failure rate is very low. Now we also have what we call level plant. Level plant, there are normally 2 rods, and it's also Adrias. And we have what we call Jadel. Jadel, there are also 2 rods, and it's a 5 years contraceptive. All of these implants are, they only have one hormone. So meaning they are safe for breastfeeding mothers and for any other person who is not breastfeeding, that is the sexually, people of sexual age, sexual active persons. Implants are also commonly used methods in Kenya. Let me highlight on people who are supposed to use and people are not supposed to use. It has a contraindications. Let me start with the people who are not supposed to use. So the people who are not supposed to use are persons with elevated pressure, people with hypertension, or we also have hypertensive disorders, like the varicose veins, where we have inflamed blood vessels, normally on the feet. So those people are not categorically advisable to use. And people with elevated blood pressure of more than 160 over 110. Another categories are people with deep, it's also an hypertensive disorder called DVT. That is a deep venous thrombosis. So those are the majority of people who are not supposed to use. We also have obese people, though the WHO still recommend that the people with obesity can still use it. So, but cautiously. During administration of all of these contraceptive methods, particularly the hormonal, weight is normally checked and the blood pressure. So that they will be monitoring of the weight and blood pressure. So that, for instance, if someone was 60 years today, after 3 months of family planning use, we find someone is 80 kgs. So I think, as you can see, there will be a variation and the anomaly in the weight. So, which will be directly brought by maybe these hormonal methods. Yeah.
Okay. So there are chances of this method increasing one's weight, you will say?
Now for the implants, there are chances. There also may be complaints of reduced weight. That will be contributed maybe by, majorly by reduced appetite. And so what we normally encourage our clients is that in case you have a reduced weight, of course you have been monitoring your weights and you know your weights. What we encourage is that you try taking the meals that you can easily, take at that time, as much as possible, as little as much as possible. In case of increased complaint of reduced weight, we can change the method or maybe stop for some time and then we can come and reintroduce the method again.
Okay. Now, just a recap of that. What particular method is this now?
Now, this is what we call Iucd, Intrauterine Contraceptive Device. It falls under Iud. Yeah, it's also a long term. It's a long term reversible. When we say long term reversible, we mean that you can actually have it removed anytime you want to be removed. For instance, this is a 10-year. It lasts for 10 years. So
you need to have made your decision like fully.
Yes, but also, now that it's a 10 years method, you can have it removed after even 1 month or 2 months.
And what are the chances of me conceiving after I have removed this particular method?
The coil, it's commonly known as coil, but its ideal name is Iucd, Intrauterine device. So for this case, this is called copper T380U. That's just a market, I mean a manufacturer's name.
Of course.
Yes, yes. And so the Iucd, it's 99.9% effective. It's non-hormonal. It works immediately it is inserted. Unlike the other ones, like the implants, the Jadel implant, those ones may work after 24 hours of insertion. But this one works immediately, and it is inserted in the, it's called intrauterine. So it is inserted inside the uterine cavity. And normally, we normally say that a uterus is the equal, the
like
size,
fist.
like the fist. So when an Iucd is inserted, it's inserted inside the uterus. So the way it works, it as you can see, it has copper. This copper makes the male egg, it makes it to be not to be viable to fertilize the ovum. So meaning it's like it deactivates it. It makes it not to be able to fertilize. It also reduces its permeability of reaching there. Now the copper ions also, which are produced by this copper coil. I think why it is called coil is because of this copper coil. So the copper also which is produced, there will be a reaction of copper because the egg is carried by the semen. It is actually more of moisty, hydrogen. I mean H2O. We have that reaction of copper and H2O. So that deactivates the sperm. And so that's why it's very effective, up to 99% effective. And it can be used by any person of reproductive age, be it a lactating mother, any other person.
Okay, and what are the effects now, the side effects?
Because this is something new which will be introduced into someone's body. I think God blessed us that we have a very sensitive bodies. It will be able to sense that there's something new which has been introduced. It's a foreign body. So what it will try to do, it will try to remove it out through normal, like a men's blood flow. So, but because it is inside the uterus, it will not actually come out. So one of the side effects, we will have maybe heavy bleeding for the first 1 to 2 weeks or the first 1 month.
That is during your menses or after insertion?
Immediately after insertion. We may have the bleeding or may not, depending on different people. So that's one of the major side effects. We may have heavy bleeding. We may also have spotting. In case there is an infection, of which there is normally a thorough screening of infections before insertion. In case there is an infection, there may be inflammation. But in case of any infection, now with the signs of any infection, we may have a vaginal bleeding or any other discharge, which may be range from, it may be foul smelling. So in case of any, what our clients are, the clients are supposed to learn to know that in case of any infection, one is supposed to go back to the facility so that it's either treated. If it is very mild infection, it can be treated, or the coil or the IUD can be removed so that after the treatment and after the infection has subsided, it can be reinserted again. But otherwise, it's very effective.
All right, let me just ask a layman's question. Now, you're inserting this into the uterus. Are these, what are these for? And you've also mentioned what are these strings for, and you've also mentioned of it after you've inserted it into the uterus, it helps. Can I say regulates the egg from now swimming?
Yes.
Does it also regulate or just how can I put it, prohibit now the sperm from also reaching the uterus, or this is just for the ovum?
So what it actually does, it actually inhibits or actually prevents the egg from moving up. And so the role of those strings, they are actually used during removal of that method.
Okay.
So, but they will be trimmed. We normally have the cervix on top. Cervix is the opening of the uterus. And so those strings will just be laying down on the on the cervix, so that they will be removed during, they'll be used during the removal. And they are normally trimmed. They'll be reduced.
They won't be this long.
Yeah, they won't be that long. They can be trimmed or folded inside, so that they'll just be there. And again, about those strings, they are not, okay, the environment inside is, it's a moisty, so they will soften them. They will be soft.
And they won't cut?
No. And also, the other common question is that the other person, the other party will feel the string. Those are strings. Actually, no, because they will be soft. The environment there will soften the strings, so that they will be felt. And so, at times when they are felt, it may be the short period. 1 to 2 weeks, they'll be, well, they'll be soft. Yes.
Okay, now my producer is just telling me that there is a question. After you've inserted this, I know it's quite small. So during intercourse, does this affect the act?
So the whole IUD, the whole device will be inside the uterus.
So it won't even be felt?
It won't even be felt. The only thing that can be felt are the strings. But that's for a very short time. They'll be soft. The whole, now, the whole device is inside the uterus. And it's not even accessible.
It's very far now from the opening, let me say.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Now, let's just stick to now. I'm sure most of people, let me say, if you ask a number of people who are not embracing the family planning method, they'll talk of infertility, how some of the methods probably could lead to infertility. We have, like, I don't know whether it's a myth or not for the FemiPlan, that let me say I'm 20 years old and I start using FemiPlan, and probably I use them for the next like 10 years. Let me just assume that I'll be married at 30, and that's when I'll want to start conceiving, that I won't be able probably to conceive fully, like infertility, not as you put it, probably just let me say not conceiving for 2 or so years. What are the chances of this family planning method or these contraceptives to now infertility? Are they linked in any way?
Now, we need to know that every other method we have in our country, they have been recommended by WHO and of course seconded by the Ministry of Health. That's why we have them in our country. Now back to your question about contraceptives and infertility. Currently there is no any method in our country which is associated with infertility. We may only have what we call delay in return of fertility, but complete infertility, apparently no. So the only controversial contraceptive is injectable, the Depo-Provera, which has among the higher delay in return of fertility. Eventually we shall have the fertility return. It may only delay, but it may not cause complete infertility. Yes, I believe I answered that.
You have, true. Now, as we mark, definitely, that is a World Contraceptive Day, what will be your word as far as this is concerned? And probably just before we go to that, we haven't looked at now these methods that men will use, most importantly, vasectomy, and also those women that opt to remove their uterus, I believe that's it, yeah? To remove their uterus completely as a way of a family planning as well.
Okay, now allow me to clarify on that. On Now we have now the long-term permanent methods. We have only two. We have the vasectomy in male, which involves clipping and cutting the vas deferens, that is the sperm duct. That is, let me mention it in a layman language. That is the vas deferens is the pipe or the tube which supplies the sperm from the where it is produced, the testicles, up to now the outlet. So the vas deferens, those tubes now are normally clipped. They may be clipped and cut, and that's a surgical procedure, and it's an invasive procedure. And it's a procedure which takes a very short time. I can call it it's a minor procedure, about 10 minutes procedure, 10 to 30 minutes. So for men it is the vas deferens. For men I mean it's the vasectomy, and for the female it is the tubal ligation. It's called bilateral tubal ligation because both tubes are clipped and cut. And so
by tubes, it's the what? The fallopian tubes?
Yeah, sure. It's the fallopian tubes. So it's only the tubes which are, let me say they are disconnected. They are surgically cut. So those tubes are only cut, and the whole ovary, the whole uterus, it's not interfered with. It's only the tubes. And so these are permanent method. It's non-reversible. It cannot reverse. So as we said before, the family planning is all about making what we call informed choices. So it's one is supposed to make a very informed choice, so that once the method is given, at least one is aware of the method. Yeah, it's not a surprise that we have even people of 17 years coming for vasectomy. Yeah, it happens.
Okay, yes. So it has nothing to do with age. Let me put it like that.
Yes, but it has to be informed
as you put it.
Yes.
Okay, now probably just your last words as far as our contraceptives and family plannings are concerned.
Now we appreciate so much this day because it's a World Contraceptives Day, and what I want to say, we are continuing to make awareness of the available modern contraception. We have increasing growth rate in different countries. In our country, for instance, we have, according to the data from the census 2019, we had about 49 million total number of population. At the moment, we have about 53 million, which reflects about 1.9% growth rate, which is actually sustainable. And according to the UN and other World Health regulating bodies like the CDC and the WHO, at least at the moment, we have sustainable growth in our populations generally. That tells us that there's good uptake of family planning methods. When we talk of family planning, we talk of controlling the number of births, the number of children and spacing. So what I want to say as the parting shot is that let us embrace these family planning methods so that at the end of the day we have the desirable number and the sustainable number of the children we will want to have, and it will contribute to the global growth rate, which is sustainable. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Now, just I think I would have asked this before you giving your parting shot. What would you say are some of the myths that people use as for them not to probably use contraceptives? What are some of the main myths that people bring forth?
Now, like for the
not using any of the family planning.
Now, like for implants, they normally say that, okay, one of the modes of action of this contraceptive, they will alter the normal bleeding cycles. So, like for instance, some hormonal methods will cause the normal bleeding, to disappear for like 2 months or 3 months or even 4 months. So at least at that time we are sure one is not pregnant because one is covered by with these methods. So what it actually does, it stops the normal ovulation, the normal cycle. When that happens, it has nothing to do with blood clotting or blood accumulating somewhere in our bodies. So that is the major myth, that there will be accumulation of blood somewhere in our bodies, there will be clots. Actually, that's a myth, and the truth is, the mode of action or the normal working of these hormones is that it has just altered the normal bleeding cycles, and it has nothing to do with the clots. Yes, another myth and misconception is the cause of infertility. Actually, in our country now, or according to the approved contraceptive by the WHO, there is no family planning method which causes infertility. Yeah.
Great. All right. Thank you so much, Lee, for sharing and informing us. I'm sure these are topics that many people just take for granted. However, it's something that people have so many and lots of questions. And I'm sure with the help of you, we've been able probably to just bust the myths as well as put forth the facts. So thank you so much for that. Now, that was Lee Kurui, who is a nursing officer and is being able to share with us over the contraceptive, or let me say the family planning method, even as the world marks World Contraceptive Day. That is today, 26th of September 2022. And just a summary of the methods that we've been able to look at, the contraceptive methods. We've looked at the injectable. Let me just say we've looked at the short term. We've looked at the permanent methods as well. So we've looked at the injectable. According to Nurse Lee, he says these take 3 months, and after every 3 months you're able to go and be injected once again. So we also have the Femi plan. This, I think, is the most common used contraceptive or family planning method, which is used for up to 28 days. And just as he mentioned, we have the yellow and let me say the brown ones, which the brown ones are used immediately after your menses, just to give you back the iron that would have been lost during the menses, or the blood that would have been lost. Then we have this one, which is commonly used, or in a layman's language, the coil, but Nurse Lee puts it as Iucd, which is permanent, as he says, not necessarily permanent, but long term. As he says, it takes up to 10 years, but it's reversible. So you can go, it can be inserted, then after probably 2 or 3 months, 1 or 5 years, it's again removed and you can still use it again. So those are some of the methods that we have been able to look at. Remember, if you're just joining us, this has been a very, very eye-opener and very informative session. You can always go and just find these discussions on our social media pages, that is on Facebook as well as YouTube, CAC TV Kenya. So that's all we had for you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you have been informed as far as our contraceptives are concerned.